Hello, friends, and welcome to Pod Return to the Waking Sands. We are a Final Fantasy XIV companion podcast where we explore the lore and story of Hydaelyn and beyond. My name is Jen, and I'm joined by my co-host and researcher.
I'm Levi.
Who barely swallowed that sip of sangria before he said his line.
But I did.
But you did it.
I did it, Jen.
Hello, Levi.
That's why I'm a professional.
Is that why?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Today, we are drinking sangria because it's warm. And also, we are going to play through the main scenario quest, Eyes Unclouded. So what happened last time, Jen?
I really... Me and my fucking whiteboard brain. So last time, we fucking got her.
We got her.
We got her.
That's it. Recap over.
Straight up. That's it. And there were some things that happened, but we got her.
Her is the Ivy.
Aline Rye.
We heard her name voiced.
Yes. I mean, so because to keep it simple, I'm just going to say Rye, but the way that it's pronounced in game is Ryu, which is like also kind of a bit like, we're making a little bit of an edit to make it easier to say. They're making a bit of an edit to make it easier to say.
Official pronunciation, I think Ryu is absolutely fine and manageable.
Yes, but it doesn't quite work with the pun that they use for the quest name.
I agree, but that is next episode, so you can
and it's
prep
also
about...
It's more like Huayu.
I'll be saying Ryu, Jen. That's my compromise.
All right.
Anyway, so we got her. That's the recap.
Yep.
So now that we have the Ivy apprehended, we are back on that Lady Iceheart business. Once more, we have returned to the Rising Stones, and we report back to Minfilia. And she has made progress on finding a way into Iceheart's sanctum. The current theory is that the heretics destroyed the aetheryte that links to whatever place Iceheart escaped to. So that's why we can't follow Iceheart through the aetheryte and Snowcloak to wherever. However, Minfilia knows someone who might be able to bridge this gap. This is a teleportation specialist who's coming in from Sharlayan. Sharlayan, as a recap, because this never landed for me until when it comes up in the MSQ. Sharlayan is an island essentially full of scholars. This is like a neutral nation that stays apart.
Ivy League Island.
Yeah, exactly. Ivy League Island, exactly. But not that Ivy, Jen. The other kind of Ivy.
The other Ivy, the good kind, guys.
Debatable. They're neutral, Jen. The neutral kind of Ivy.
The smart kind.
The smart Ivy. Anyway, so we have a colleague coming in from Sharlayan who is going to be arriving within the hour.
Oh, how fortuitous.
And seeing as we're here anyway, why don't we go and meet this person?
Sure.
We and Minfilia go outside.
Well, we're going to the northeast entrance to Revenant's Toll, which is like nobody ever goes there. This is the entrance nobody uses.
That's the one coming in from Kurthus, right?
And I never walked that shit, so I've never.
Well, you walked it once when you had to get the teleport point.
Debatable.
Not debatable.
I think I walked through it from fucking Forgotten Springs. You get to Kurthus through that. Oh wait, no, that's Kurthus.
Yes.
No, Revenant's. I don't.
You have to get to Revenant's Toll through Kurthus in our game world.
All right. Well, no, I don't doubt that I had to get there somehow. But so aside from that one time, nobody uses this entrance. So it felt weird to be like, let's go walk over there.
It's also the place that all these caravans that have been raided by the heretics are going through because they are coming from Kurthus.
It's in my mind's eye. It's whatever.
Okay, so
whatever.
Jen apparently.
I mean, obviously, when you're standing there exchanging your poetics for gear, it's right there. But you're never like walking out of that gate.
Jen, we don't walk to shit. We teleport everywhere.
That's what I'm saying.
Because we're the 1%ers here.
No, you get to the fucking. To the tent with the tombstone gear and
that's us
Ironworks gear.
The collective warriors of light. The common people though have to still go through the damn gate, including the scholar who comes drawn in on this chocobo carriage, coming through the gate. It's odd. There's a Mikote passenger who's just whoever in the carriage.
Yeah, it's like a bus. There's a few people on it.
But they are very careful to show this Mikote disembarking. She's actually in frame first. We don't see our colleague yet. We see the Mikote.
It's the Mikote and then a very tall person.
And then the Mikote gets off and we see her like ambling around in the foreground.
Like, oh, is this her? Is this her?
And she walks off.
I'm like, okay, it's not her.
I don't know if they're going for realism, as in like, this is a bus, so people are getting off, or if they're trying to fake us out as to who the person is.
It's also just exciting because this is like a new person. So we're like, ooh, who's it going to be?
But it's not the Mikote. It is someone else. We see now disembarking. There is a Rogadin with gray hair, short on one side and long on the other, like Jin's. She has Archon tattoos and is wearing a purple chain vest and skirt, and she has an aetherometer around her neck.
She also has a sweet tattoo on her left thigh.
Yes.
Her skirt is quite short.
This is not unique. A lot of people have this in our immediate circle. So we have seen this beforehand. It's not unique to this person. The person is Moonbrita.
We don't know shit about shit. We just know this is a striking femra wearing purple with the Archon tattoos. I'm like, okay, this is our person. And she gets off and she does like a big stretch. It's like, and she walks over to Minfilia, and Minfilia thanks her for traveling so far on such short notice. Our mystery person responds with, as if I could ever say no to Urianger. And this is Moonbrita. She is an expert on aetheryte technology, and so this is like Minfilia's like, oh, okay, this is Moonbrita, this is what she does. So she's an expert on aetheryte technology, and she's been working with the Scions on a means to capture Ascian souls using that white aurosite shit. So introductions made, we head back to the Rising Stones to like sit and talk about stuff.
And everyone is abuzz in the lounge area. Papalimos being a grump. He says that Louis Sois thought highly of Moonbrita, but then again, so does Ida.
Guys.
He's very rude. Papalimo kind of sucks.
I mean,
to be honest.
I think, no, Ida is like, she's not operating under any misapprehensions about like who she is. So she's like, I'm Ida and this is how I am, and Papalimo is my bro, and he's always ready to like, kind of like call her out, like in Buster Chops a bit. Like I don't really have a problem with it.
Papalimo is a hella wet blanket in this upcoming content.
But I'm like, that's fine. And Ida's like, yeah, he is who he is. I am who I am, and there's an understanding, and it's totally fine.
Anyway, Thancred is happy that the newcomer is an attractive young lady.
God.
So he's now over his Doman lady who was feeding him. She's old news. Now Thancred's all about Moonbrita.
I mean, me too.
And Thancred is trying to figure out what stories of his exploits will most impress her.
So bizarre. And
in the storage area, Hori Boulder and Ida are having a squat off, while Coultonay and some Domans are cheering them on. And Tataru is practicing her juggling. She's flipping around a knife, a hatchet, and a bottle.
Eyes on Tataru. Eyes always on Tataru. You never know what that bitch is doing.
After we check in, we head to the solar.
Okay, so everybody's gathering. Right, Thancred, Y'shtola, Ida and Papalimo walk in, and as soon as Ida sees Moonbrita, she freaks the fuck out. She's like, oh my god, sister! And Moonbrita's like, oh my god, sister! Like, it's been forever, blah, 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 blah. And Ida's like, well, we're basically twin sisters. And then Papalimo is all like, save an appearance and aptitude. And I took a screenshot of this moment because the perspective is from Ida's head looking down on Papalimo. And he's got this like kind of mic drop posture going on. And he just kind of holds it for a beat too long. And I found it to be hilarious. Just like, ayo, I said what I said. Everybody laughs because that was great. Anyway, so on to business. So along with her aetheryte skills, Moonbrita has brought a sample of the white aurosite that they've been researching. So she pulls it out, saying that one would have to be stupid to turn down an opportunity like this. This land, Eorzea apparently, is just so steeped in ether, you can practically taste it. Like, that's cool. Then Urianger enters the room. We don't see him yet. We just hear the door open and close. And then his voice, "The passage of years hath done little to dampen thy youthful spirits, and nothing at all to reform thy youthful manner." Fucking burn. Moonbrita turns and she's got this huge smile on her face, and she just rushes over there and gives Urianger this massive bear hug. And he's like, "Unhand me!" And she's like, "No!"
And she lifts him off the ground.
She lifts him up off the ground. She's like, "Is that any way to welcome me after all this time?"
I come all this way, and that's what you have to say to me. I much preferred when you were pleading with me to drop everything and hurry to your side. What was it you said? None save thee can satisfy this need.
Oh, that means two things. And the Scions are all like, tee-hee-hee. And Thancred begs Moonbrita to continue. Go on.
Urianger stammers, though, that thine artless attempts to misrepresent mine all too innocent motives do thee little credit.
Whatever, bro. Yeah, he's playing it real straight. Obviously, his request was worded thusly to impress upon her the gravity of the circumstances, not because, like, I wanted to hang out. All right, let's just, like, keep it on the level here. But when Thancred is all like, "Go on," Urianger kind of, like, shoots him a look, and Thancred's like, "Oh, my bad." Because Urianger is not happy. He is in peril in this room. All right. Anyway, Moonbrita asks Minfilia then you haven't found the second aetheryte. And Minfilia says that they have not, and they're almost certain that it has been destroyed. And if that is so, Moonbrita says, well, that's that.
Except no, it's not.
Unless if Iceheart actually used the first aetheryte and not just teleportation magics, which is what happened, then we may be able to use the lingering current she left behind to recreate the beacon. And then Thancred pipes up, like opening the floodgates to fill a dry riverbed.
Yes, Thancred with the Star Trek layman's explanation coming in.
I mean, yeah, like sometimes I do it too. I will like paraphrase something somebody said so that I can make sure that I understand it. You know, like this is how the concept is working out in their mind. Am I on the right track as well? Sometimes just verbalizing it helps to seal your understanding.
Oh, sure. But Papalymo jumps in to shit on the plan. He says, sure, that's all fine in theory, but how are we supposed to channel that much ether? And directing it with the requisite precision would be nigh impossible.
Every group needs a Papalymo, okay? Okay? Somebody needs to be like the voice of reason, the voice of dissent, the devil's advocate to make sure we consider all the options. So thank you, Papalymo.
Well, Moonbrita says that is correct. It would be difficult and deadly, except I have my white auracite.
Oh.
We can attune the auracite with the requisite ether, but we must do so immediately before the attempt, as the auracite cannot retain ether for long.
Right.
And the plan has better than 50-50 odds of success. And if worse comes to worse, those lost in transit won't suffer.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, some of you may die.
But Minfilia...
This is it. This is all we got.
I'm not sure if that's true, but Minfilia is happy to sacrifice us, the Warrior of Light, for this attempt.
I mean, to like watch Moonbrita talk about it, she's like the eternal optimist. She seemed extremely confident. Like, you know, everybody else who's attempted this has died, but I think this time, with the white auracite in particular as the variable here, I think we can do it. And you know, we simply don't have the time to dick around in the caverns below Snowcloak forever, which is how that's panning out to be. So yes, yeah, we're going to go with the 50-50 live or die option.
Better than 50-50. So the plan is set, and we head to Snowcloak to rendezvous with Alphino. Once we arrive, we head right for the aetheryte. The gang all assembles inside that interior Snowcloak cavern.
I'm sorry, Levi, you don't speak for me. All right? We don't head straight to the fucking Snowcloaks.
What do you do, Jen?
So I had switched to Black Mage at this
Jen
point.
says, I go and check my retainers first to see what's sold.
I mean, you're not far off. So I'm like, I'm flying on my way there, and like a little fate pops up. I'm like, oh, I need some XP. I'll just do this fate real quick. And do the fate. And then I'm back on the road. But then I see some hunting log targets. I'm like, ooh, I'll do those. And then I go that I'm in Snowcloak. And then there's that one yellow quest in that little encampment right outside of Snowcloak. I'm like, oh, I know what this is, but I'm going to go ahead and clear it. So I'm going to do that. That's the one where the man, he lost his wife in the avalanche.
Yeah.
And he's trying to retrieve the ring that he gave her when they got engaged. And he can't bear to dig among the corpses of everybody he's ever known and loved to find this. So he asks us to do it instead. That's the quest. So I do that too. Then I head to Alphino.
I can tell you sense the urgency of the upcoming primal summoning. Vinfili is willing to risk your life on it. You know, you are...
Maybe that's it. I'm like, I'm going to
justifying
die
this sacrifice.
So when I get to Alphino, what he says, he's like, oh, good to see you. I was half wondering if you'd had second thoughts on the way. As if I had like absolutely dilly-dallied, which is totally what happened. I'm like, bro, you called it. Anyway,
so we're now inside Snowcloak at various times, and the whole gang assembles. Moonbrita proffers the white auracite.
What do you mean by at various times?
Because Jen got there after I did in our respective timelines.
Okay, I was confused. So yeah, when we
get there, we assemble.
We go to the aetheryte.
Yes.
Yeah. That is now like dead.
Moonbrita proffers the white auracite. The assembled scions channel ether into it. And then Moonbrita in turn blasts the aetheryte with the accumulated ether within the auracite. And after a brief pause, she says, it worked.
I think.
So she invites us now to attune to the raw aetheryte to feel its current, and we do so. And we're like, well, that's done. All right, time to leave.
All that's left is to risk our lives trying to get to the fucking...
We have to leave. Like, we don't have an option. We're all forced to leave the Snowcloak tunnels, go back outside, dick around for a bit, then come back in.
For exposition reasons? Or for... reasons?
It's because if I'm going to be purely mechanical, Snowcloak does not exist in the world as a non-dungeon instance. So
right.
We can't
the
be
dungeon,
there.
The trial entrance has to be out.
But it feels
in the overworld.
Much like we gotta go, but we're gonna all walk outside the snow maze and talk outside for a bit, then go back in and teleport in. Whatever. Anyway, I understand why they did it.
I think they actually literally say, you know, okay, so now that's ready, you need to get your provisions, get your bros.
Yes.
So they've justified it.
Kind of. We should have done that beforehand.
Anyway, well, we don't know.
This is why it's better in the current content where there's like a waiting room for like an upcoming trial or whatever. Okay, so we're in like some kind of liminal space before the trial starts. That's not the overworld. You're giving me this blank look, Jen, but this happens all the damn time, including
I can't visualize
the final trial of Dawn Trail.
That's absolutely, the entrance is in the overworld. Yeah, we can walk to it from the aetheryte.
To the final trial? Yeah. The final dungeon.
No, the trial. It's at the end of that.
We go through and then we get to we had the cutscene where the cutscene ends and we're standing there in the waiting room and we can
enter from there.
Correct.
If you want to spend 20 fucking minutes sticking around in this weird temporary space.
If you're not a DPS, you can queue up for the trial right then and there, and you're in instantly.
But most of us will exit, and there will be a different entrance available elsewhere.
Yes, there's another way in, like the Duty Finder, for instance. But there is a space that the game gives you, so you're not feeling like you've gone out to go dick around.
Right, it's immersive. I always feel bad when I'm like, I can't stay here. I would like to, because like there's been all this build up, and the music is pumping, and like you're there, and you just, and I'm like, well, the queue is 20 minutes long. I had to leave, and I'm like, that sucks.
Support privilege once again, where I can just boop into the trial directly from that place, and no time has passed.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Anyway, yes, this is a long tangent, but point being that it feels a lot more immersive if you're not stuck in a 20-minute queue, if you can just go directly into the urgent whatever is happening versus go back outside and dick around for a while the queue pops. That's all.
Yeah.
Long aside. Moving on. So
yeah.
we get our bros. We assemble our allies for the confrontation and we supply up or whatever. Oh, also, though, he tells us to go talk to that temple knight over there. Alphino does.
I was going to say, like, there is a message for us up top from Sir Emmerich.
Yeah.
He couldn't be there in person, but he did have a message for us.
He's written us a love letter.
I mean, basically, we're doing this for, this is an immediate threat to Ishgard, but it does present, a threat to the realm at large. So it's not like, we're only doing this because, well, we fight primals, that's our jam, but like Ishgard is in some deep shit here. They don't have the resources to do it. So we're doing them a really big fucking favor.
Yes.
And that's basically what Sir Emmerich says in his letter.
What does the letter say, Jen?
It says, Ishgard faces an unprecedented threat. Yet, in our hour of need, it is not her knights who stand poised to defend her. Warrior of light, savior of Eorzea, your deeds this day shall not be forgotten. Where others would flee, you choose to remain. Where others would falter, you rise to the challenge. Where others would use their gifts for selfish ends, you wield yours in service to a greater cause. May Haloni bless you with good fortune and see you safely home. Like, fucking this guy. This guy's... what a way with words.
And with that, the Ak-Afa amphitheater is unlocked. So we teleport in, and we are successful. We do not end up dissipating in the ethereal sea. We live.
And our friends live.
And our friends live. Our 7 closest friends live that we met through Duty Finder. And we arrive in a frozen amphitheater. There are Northern Lights-esque streaks in the heavens around us, shimmering in the sky, and there are just like frozen seats all around us. This is like a central platform that's in the middle of a circular theater.
It's an amphitheater.
Well, they can't be semicircular, Jen. This one is not. Either way, though, Lady Iceheart waits here for us. She immediately gets aggro on us.
You should never have come here, warrior of light. I labor only to forge a lasting peace. A peace you would deny us out of ignorance and blind faith. No matter. If it is our fate to be at odds, then it is mine to strike you down. We whom gods and men have forsaken shall be the instruments of our own deliverance. Partake of my flesh. Fill this vessel with your light. Walk amongst your brothers and sisters once more. Oh, Saint Shiva, still the hatred within our hearts and bless us to eternal grace.
She has beseeched Shiva in this moment to start the summoning ritual.
Yeah.
And becomes completely encased in this gorgeous ice flower. It looks like a flower. It looks like the icon for the Black Mage Freeze. That's what it looks like.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this cocoon of ice shatters. Iceheart herself has transformed into Shiva. This isn't a primal summoning so much as she has become a primal.
She's offered her body as a vessel. Like, what the fuck?
And the battle begins. So for me, Jen, this was over and done in a flash.
Yep.
This trial does not do Shiva justice, especially with today's item level sync.
Yeah.
And it's really a shame. I queue in, I start the fight. I queued as tank because I was trying to get some XP on that and I wanted to fast queue. So I'm in the intro cutscene. I come in and like there's a warrior who has her stance on, and immediately after in my cutscene, the warrior just fucking pulls the boss. I'm like,
rude.
I'm obviously in the MSQ, bro. You've done this beforehand. Give the apparent newbie
I
the
was
main
going to say,
tank.
like, how rare is it for people to get this trial and have like new people in the group?
Yeah.
How refreshing for them.
I mean, I've done this before. I'm not hurt personally, but I am just bothered. Like, let the newbie, especially if they're a tank.
Yeah. Like, hey,
thing.
man, you want to take this?
Yes.
Have a conversation or be like, ooh, oh, this is your first time. Just like, and everybody is allowed to enjoy that moment because, you know, it's like taking a kid to Disneyland. You're seeing it with fresh eyes.
It's especially egregious, though, because, frankly, the double tank system sucks. They barely ever need 2 tanks for shit, honestly. So the quote off tank is just there in case the main tank.
This is an 8-person trial just at all.
Yeah. Well, that's a separate matter. But anyways, there's no reason for there to be an off tank in probably like 90% of the 8-person content. Or if there is, there's like some cursory double tank stack. So here you go, off tank. You got something to do.
For like someone doing the MSQ for the first time and they're tanking and they get in there, to not even have like somebody be like, hey, you be main tank, bro. You got this.
Again, I'm good. I've done this beforehand.
Sure.
I'm not surprised, but they don't know that.
Exactly. No, it's just like a general kind of etiquette.
So give your newbie tanks main tank.
Yeah. I had a nice group. They were like, you know, enjoy the story because I'm all sprouted up and I had the cutscene and stuff.
Yep.
So it was very nice.
Anyway, though, once it happened, like the fight's over and done. You dodge a couple AoEs, ads come out. The cool part, you still get the diamond dust transition.
And then the music change and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So about halfway through, roughly, Shiva's had enough of this shit. She freezes the whole arena in ice. All players are encased in ice. The music gets quiet. There's like this sparkling sound. She drifts around the arena. She kicks one of the players, shattering everyone's ice.
That noise is so satisfying.
Yeah.
You absolutely, you're gonna cut it in here and it's gonna be great.
The ice shatters, this frees all the players. This is her signature Diamond Dust ability, classic from Shiva's throughout the Final Fantasy series. And this begins phase 2. The music kicks up. You dodge one set of AoEs and she's dead.
Yeah. It was very fast. It was very fast.
So we'll talk about mechanics in the extreme in a little bit.
Yeah,
but
when there are actual.
Yeah, the normal mode. Again, it's just it's such a shame because it's such a big character and also like a classic.
It's such a huge moment.
Primal summon from Final Fantasy. I
having way more difficulty with Good King Mogomog 12th.
Yes.
Like not the extreme.
Yeah.
The normal one. I had way more difficulty.
Well, that's been rebalanced for the modern era. So that's fair. They redid that fight entirely.
Yeah. So like there's like been a lot of conversation recently about like encounter difficulty and how they ramped that shit up for Dawn Trail, and most everybody's like, thank God. Yes, great. You know, you gave healers something to do. There are actual mechanics. You can't just yawn your way through these trials. You actually have to like, you know, hear, feel, think. So like going back and doing this stuff, it's just like, it does the story a disservice when this shit is so easy.
Yes.
Anyway, all right.
So we have defeated Shiva and she reverts back to Lady Iceheart and she looks dejected.
So she is dismayed.
She lectures us for being a fool.
You, of all people, should understand the suffering war begets. That no sacrifice is too great if it brings an end to the violence. Mine is the righteous cause. You fight in a war you do not understand, a pawn of liars and schemers. And they are no less ignorant than you, following the creed of their fathers without question, never thinking to ask why.
Yeah.
But redemption is not beyond us. We who walk before may lead those who walk after. She bids us to seek the keeper of the lake and see with eyes unclouded. Do not squander mother's gift. Energy begins to swirl around her, and we realize something's up. We move to intervene, but it's too late. Iceheart vanishes in a swirl of ice and ether, uttering the words, hear, feel, think.
The implications of this.
Yes, it's huge. So Iceheart probably has the echo, which enormous.
Yeah. For her to like drop that fucking bomb and then bail.
Yeah, it's real good.
Like, whoa. I forgot that. And I'm like, oh shit. And also, invoking mother, capital M.
Yep.
I don't think, anyway.
But it's not over.
Here we go. This is the ARR tradition. After every trial, we get one of these. A fucking Ascian.
Yes, we have a single audience member in the amphitheater.
Yes. It is an Ascian, and this is an unknown to us
Yes,
Ascian.
he has a spider-like mask. It looks kind of sad with the angle of the mask itself. It's got like 8 eye slits, which look like spider legs, and 2 fang-like projections coming down the bottom of it. But the way it's shaped, it makes him look like he's got like a droopy face.
Oh, sad Ascian. And so the vessel withdraws, he says. Despite Shiva's failure to subdue us, apparently La Habrea will still be pleased. And he says, how unfortunate. So this makes me think that there's some bickering within the Ascian ranks.
We got that beforehand from this whole like emissary, whatever thing.
Yeah, like they've got like diverging agendas.
Yep.
And so we don't know who this guy is. Of course, La Habrea did kind of go rogue for a hot second, and everybody's probably like, come on, man, like what the fuck are you doing? So anyway, but we don't know who this guy is.
Nope.
So he says his little bit and off he goes. So
back outside, we tell Moonbrita how it went. And she is shocked we're alive. I mean, of course you're alive.
Like, oh my god, you're alive! Of course you're alive.
But she is highly skeptical of this ice heart becoming a primal thing.
Oh, dude, she's like, nah. Are you concussed? There's no way. Wait. Iceheart offered her body as a vessel, and then she became Shiva. No. Are you okay? Are you seeing shit? Are you hallucinating? Like, no, I swear to God, we saw this. And like, okay.
But there's no use mulling it over in the cold. Let's go back to the Rising Stones. But first, we had better go see Alphino on the way out. He's busy playing politics at White Brim Front. Her words. Yeah.
No, she's
she marked him ASAP.
Right? God, she's such a badass.
We find Alphino, Emmerich, and the Ishgardian gang in the main tower at White Brim Front, and we regale them with our tale of victory.
Yeah, so the heretics have been routed, and Iceheart escaped, which is a bummer, but Sir Emmerich is like, I don't care how long it takes, my knights will find her. Also, a caravan of supplies for Revenant's Toll has been organized as well. So the caravan that got ambushed and all the crystals stolen, they kind of reorganized that to send shit back to Revenant's Toll.
Sans crystals,
yes. So Sir Emmerich asks us to accompany him back to Camp Dragonhead because apparently one of the lords there had a real hard time with the news that we were going to engage in very shady aetheryte travel and also confront Shiva if we survived the first half of that. Like, he was beside himself. Gosh, yes. I wonder who that is. It's so funny. So apparently this person, and Sir Emmerich doesn't say his name, but which is really funny. He just says this particular lord was fit to be tied when he learned that we were off to confront Iceheart, and it quote unquote took 6 knights to restrain him, I am told. Men give vent to their anxieties in myriad ways. Pray do not think less of him. Yeah, he got real emotional.
Yep. We go back and see this lord. It's Lord Orchifon, of course. And at this point, he is less worried and more stoked that we had our showdown with Lady Iceheart, and he wishes he could have been there.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a parental admonishment. Like, how dare you do something so dangerous? But oh my god, how amazing. The battle for the ages.
And he was supposed to wait here in suspense for a veritable eternity.
He was so mad. But he cares about us.
Done is done. We should go and meet with Lord Emmerich in the Intercessory. So we hop on over to that room in Camp Dragonhead. And now that Lord Emmerich is sitting in the big chair, the big high-backed chair, he can express his thanks on behalf of the Holy See itself. Official thanks in the official chair.
Yes.
They have never had to deal with a primal before, and they had feared that their knights would not be up to the task. If we hadn't intervened, Shiva may have exacted a high price. And now Alphino, single-minded as always, says, so how about that alliance?
Right? You're like, yeah, like I fucking said. So now, how about now?
Emmerich gets into a giant roundabout answer. He talks again about how Ishgard doesn't get involved in external affairs and that they've got to deal with the Dravanians, etc., etc. Same shit we heard the last time. But before Alphino gets too pouty, Emmerich gets to the point. He says, this unprecedented crisis may prompt an unprecedented change in policy, or at least it might silence any lingering objections in the arrangement to supply Revenant's toll. And as a gesture of good faith, Emmerich will withdraw his request to keep an eye on the Dravanians and on Midgardsormr. But Alphino says no need. He's happy to. But, Sir Emmerich, do you truly believe that Midgardsormr could return? And now Emmerich gets a bit waffly. He says, the astrologians see what they can, but they are sometimes wrong. The heavens are not definite.
Again, he is not... I think he applies a lot of skepticism to this. The observatorium is there in service to the Holy See and to the theocracy. So there's a lot of like woo-woo bullshit, I think, in Sir Emmerich's mind kind of going on. You can glean some things from observing the skies, but he stops short of saying that you can definitively determine that a dead dragon could rise from the ashes yet again just because some stars are doing some shit. So he's always walking that line very, very diplomatically without saying like, I think this is weird religious garbage.
Yes.
But people do put a lot of faith in it and we can glean some truths, etc.
Well, more so though is that he always believed this kind of, it is what it is. It's not definite. But last time we talked about this, he was like, this says this will happen. You got to keep watch and we'll pay you for it. So Alphino realizes this too. And he says, okay, so you just saw a way to give us compensation as Revenant's toll serves Ishgardian interests as it is. You didn't really care about us watching that star. That was all just lip service, rather watching Midgardsormr.
Yeah.
And Alphino acts betrayed by this. This did not seem like a surprise to me, but Alphino acts like he's been used.
Oh, he's been used. Yeah, he's so like, oh, I'm so glad we could be of use to you. Like, what? And Emmerich, rightfully so, is like, bro, this arrangement is mutually beneficial. Like, we've talked about this. We know the stakes here. We know what the fuck is going on. I don't know why you're so butthurt right now.
Before then, though, our taciturn temple knight.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She's like, Alphino, check it.
Yeah. Sit your little butt down. Okay? Oh yeah, she got fired up real quick and Emmerich is like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Do you know what sort of man becomes Lord Commander of the Temple Knights? One who comes from good stock. I did not. Yet here I am. Now, why do you suppose that is? Because I swiftly learnt to tell the difference between words, deeds, and beliefs. You are correct, Master Leveilleur. Ishgard desires to see Revenant's toll flourish, as it would present a troublesome obstacle to our enemies from the south.
We are so glad to be of use to you.
As we are to you. Ours is a mutually beneficial arrangement, lest we forget, one born of necessity.
And Alphino now sulks for a bit longer, but he says, fair, sorry for the outburst. And Emmerich says, we cool.
Yeah. He calls him out, like this is a mutually beneficial arrangement. Revenant's toll requires support, as does Ishgard. Between the Dravanians' constant bombardments and the heretic nuisance, they're totally spread thin. And Emmerich knows how stingy Ishgardian leadership is with their trust of outsiders. So, sweeping change on that front must be achieved with care and caution, So Alphino is constantly like, join the alliance! Tell the Holy See to shut the fuck up! Join the alliance! And Emmerich's like, bro, you naive little shit. it doesn't work like that. God damn. Understand that I'm taking like baby steps here to get to what you want me to do. Ugh. Anyway, so Alfino like absolutely eats crow in this moment. He's like, I apologize. And Emmerich is like, it's okay. You speak from the heart. Like, what an amazing, lovely man Sir Emmerich is.
Now that we're cool, though.
Right.
Emmerich says sometimes his obligations will keep him from meeting with us. At those times, we can trust his second in command as we do him. And finally, we get introduced to the taciturn knight. Her name is Lucia. She says, pray excuse our reticence. We are but wary of speaking too freely, lest our sentiments be made known to our enemies. Know that the Lord Commander and I are of one mind. For the sake of Ishgard and of Eorzea at large, I pray our peoples can put aside our differences. And Emmerich informs us that Lucia is as trustworthy as they come. Not having hailed from a noble house, she has no obligations to family, to some other greater bond.
No loyalty to any of the high houses. She's not of Ishgardian birth, period. So,
not having these other motives, she is about as incorruptible as they come in Ishgard. Oh, and he says, by the way, Lord Orshavan. And the knight now steps forward, proffering something to Alfino. This is the results of their interrogations of that merchant we captured a couple episodes back, the one that was working with the heretics. This now has whatever they learned from him. May it help us with our own efforts. And with that, we part ways. Back outside, we confer with Alfino, and he informs us that this Shiva summoning upends everything that we know about primal nature. We will have to perform a complete reappraisal of this recurring problem.
There it is.
Not to mention, what would happen if the Garleans learned of this? They already vilify the beast tribes for their primal summoning. What if they learn that the Eorzean peoples can become primals?
Yeah, just a random citizen could call upon a primal to, like, use their body. That changes the game quite a bit. And yeah, so this is a fuck. We have to figure this out.
But enough talk. It's finally time to go back to the Rising Stones. For real this time. Back in the Stones, in the break room, we find out that Moonbrita has been dipping heavily into the Cyan supply of alcohol. She has already drank Thancred under the table, and Higiri is alarmed about them running out of booze.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Jen is looking aghast at me. It's because Jen does not check in with the Scions. She can dick around for half an hour when going to the fucking primal summoning, but she's got to have laser focus going to that solar. Apparently, Moonbrita is also a bad influence on Hori, too. Coltonay is busy admonishing Hori for over-imbibing while Hori is chugging from a bottle while resting atop a pile of crates.
God, she just immediately injected so much life into this shit. It's so good.
We now head for the solar. The Scions assemble, and we recount what happened.
The Scions are also shocked to hear that Iceheart used her own body as a vessel for Shiva's soul. Like, can we even classify that as a primal? And so Ishola and Papalymo are like, can we even call that a primal? Blah, blah, blah. And Thancred is like, I don't, like, semantics. Fucking, that's dumb. The real issue is what we've seen here is someone who retained their own will after a primal possessed their shit. And that means a mortal can wield the power of a primal, like seemingly at will, with enough crystals and whatever. Like, this changes the game. This is horrifying.
It can't possibly be that easy, can it? There must be some sort of sacrifice required. Or maybe she's just special?
What qualities this woman possesseth, I know not, but full sure am I that she was groomed for this role. Few are privy to the secrets of summoning, and but a single party standeth to profit from their dissemination.
Well, I wouldn't presume to comment on how the lass came to know about summoning, but I will say that what she summoned was a primal. The readings were the same, or near as damn it.
But regardless, Moonbrita's readings of the event matched almost exactly those of what we've seen on previous primal fights. So, like, you know, this reads like a primal, like all the other primal shit. There's not a lot of difference there, but there is a little bit of difference. So it seems just we've kind of now that we have like a variable here, we can go back to our previous primal interactions and really dig in and see, like, you know, what exactly is happening here. And Y'shtola is like, I'll do that.
The conversation now moves on to what Iceheart said, her reference to the Echo and to Midgar Sormer, the Keeper of the Lake.
Midgard Zoma was a king amongst kings who reigned for centuries on end. But he is dead and his wisdom lost to the ages. Unless the Ishgardians' fears are well-founded. It would seem we have yet another reason to stand watch over the Keeper of the Lake. For our mercy, we are well positioned to do so.
The group soon disperses to do their various tasks and research. Ida and Papalymo will be going back to Gridania to see what they can learn anew about primal summoning. And that's where we leave off for this time. Any thoughts on the story, Jen?
I mean, there's no time for thoughts.
No time.
There's no time. Everything is happening so fast. But, like, fucking Moonbreeda's here. Huzzah.
Well, Jen, it's one thing I want to camp out on is what you alluded to at the end about Ascians maybe having, quote, groomed Iceheart. And there's another reference to that as well in the Extreme Unlock questline, where Orion J says that, hey, you know, when she gets powered up to extreme form, maybe someone, Ascians, gave her the secrets.
This, you know, this, the fetish, or like the, you know, the way to really like pump up the jam.
Well, I hope it's not the fetish with her whole like peace mongering deal, because the fetish is like a sacrificed person.
Right.
So I hope that she didn't do that to become extreme.
You know, the game has changed a bit with Iceheart and Shiva and how they interact and possess one another or whatever. Yep. So who knows? But
it's interesting though, because if she has the Echo, then Hydaelyn should tell her to fuck off with those Ascians, don't deal with them. But the implication as of now is that she has had Ascian dealings. Maybe she didn't know. They could have come to her in like a possessed form, whatever.
Maybe it's the Echo itself that allows her to become that much more powerful.
Sure, but everyone thinks that she has Ascian dealings, and obviously Ascians are watching her because we got a cutscene with that exact message.
Yep. However they did it.
If she's dealing with Ascians, it is still an if, but if so, I mean, that's kind of fucked up because of her apparently having the Echo.
Yeah. They probably had to tread very carefully there.
Yep. We don't know. It's pure speculation at this point in time. It's just what we know as of now.
But they absolutely saw an opportunity in Iceheart, or at least Izel before she became Iceheart. And, you know, this is again how we can kind of stir up unrest and get you know, one of them primals going. Yep. She's an excellent candidate, but she has her motivations. They run a lot deeper than the tribe summonings that we've seen so far.
Sure.
So everything's a bit different now.
I guess deeper might be a bit judgmental.
It's yeah. I mean, it's all like it's, you know, times of strife. We are in, you know, times are volatile. We are a marginalized community. This is our last bastion of hope against, you know, the fucking, you know, the Limsons, the whatever, or, you know, like in the case of the Sylphs, like this Garlean stuff, everything it feels dangerous and we feel threatened, you know, we're resorting to these primals to protect us or fight on our behalf. And with Izel, this is a war that has gone on for 1,000 years, and like this is not a reactionary thing that she's doing. That basis is different.
I guess that's fair. Well, anyway, if that's all your story thoughts, Jen, we'll hop over now to the extreme fight. The Shiva Extreme Unlock comes from Urian J in the Waking Sands. He tells us that that Shiva's followers have seized a hoard of crystals far greater than the last, and that the primal has returned once more powerful than before. And we have to go and report to Lord Drillmont for more info.
Yep.
This is why I like the current Wandering Minstrel method of unlocking extremes. We just spent how many MSQ segments chasing them all around Kurthis for these crystal shipments. And now suddenly, surprise, they have 1 million more crystals and she's super powerful. It also undercuts the whole scene with her talking to us and showing the echo and so on. And now we go back to the amphitheater again and beat her up again. It undercuts all the work that's been done so far.
Yes, it really like kind of totally minimizes the impact of the initial trial.
Yeah. And
story.
It's why the Wandering Minstrel method is so great, because it makes it
separates it from the reality.
Exactly. Yeah. So this does not feel like it's a real story. It has some context here that's interesting, especially about the Asian involvement.
I felt when I was like, you talk to Urian J for, a decent amount of time with some background information, and then you go to talk to Lord Drillmont for additional. So, I mean, they really tried to justify the how and the why of this happening.
Yeah.
But, huge props to, Yoshi P or the Dove team, who kind of figured out like this feels wrong and it's not doing the story any service.
Correct.
So let's, we still want this with this content, but let's make it like kind of a dream.
Yeah.
Kind of, working out in our imaginations.
Yep. So anyway, though, for now it's happening. And Urian J tells us she's back with more crystals. And we pop over to Lord Drillmont. He beseeches us. Defeat Iceheart again and put an end to her machinations.
Once and for all. Hopefully. Yeah.
We head back to Snowcloak. A Temple Knight tells us that he'll escort us to the aetheryte. Oh, apparently also Snowcloak is once again overrun with heretics too. I mean,
we didn't fight heretics, to be fair. They're probably like running around, scrambling, packing up their stuff. Who knows?
Yeah, it's whatever.
Counting
it's like tons of stuff happened in like 2 seconds, because now Snowcloak is once again home to hordes of heretics, and we got to sneak past them to get the aetheryte. All happens off screen. We sneak away.
It's not like the movement has been defeated.
No, but it's undoing all the Snowcloak drama as well.
God, it was wound so tight.
Yeah.
So tight. And now it's just like we're back at fucking square one.
Exactly.
Again.
Anyway, so we do all the things, and now Shiva Extreme is unlocked. So here we are. This is the fight. It's good. I like it.
I have always enjoyed this fight. Yes.
Sweet.
Like thematically, mechanically. I remember this being like the first time I feel like I said this for Good King Mogglmog, but when the first time I tried this extreme, like this was an ordeal.
Yeah, this I think is one of the first kind of modern-ish extremes in the game, because it's not about like random mechanics being shot at you and tank busters you have to memorize the appearance of, as in like where they come in the rotation so you can mid up before they come out. You can see what's going to happen and you have to react to it. If you don't react to it, you're going to get punished. If you do, you're overall okay. It's a lot less random bullshit and a lot more just reading what's going on.
Yeah.
And
like keeping a cool head.
Resolving. Exactly.
Yeah. Reading the mechanics, communicating with the team. And like, it's like a fight. If you're able to nail this in the first go round, congratulations, you're some kind of like fucking savant. So you do have to.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
So thank you to Tapantau Jessel on Dark Knight, Ash Rosenpire on Gunbreaker, Annette Blackthorn on Astrologian, Harry Blackstone on Samurai, Merwin Corvus on Bard, Golden Abbey on Machinist, and Jinx Censor on Summoner, who helped us out with this minimum item level extreme. This was a tough run, logistically speaking.
Yeah.
We had so many hiccups going in. During the run itself, we had one person lose power, and then poor Tapantau, their like internet or their connection to the game took a crap.
Yeah.
And they had to drop midway through because like they just could not.
Yeah.
Apparently Shiva was disappearing for them.
That's ridiculous.
Right? So
such a bummer.
Thankfully, Golden hopped in to sub in for Tapantau mid-run, which is much appreciated. Just like some crazy ass timing.
I know, right? Yeah. Fucking we did it.
We did it. Yeah, I recall the main mechanic here being kind of mind-blowing to me the first time I encountered it. This is the weapon mechanic. Because you have to watch Shiva's model closely to know what's going on. There's no cast bars, there's no telegraphs on the ground. You have to look at her and see what's happening. Because she will transform or summon these various weapons into her hands during the course of the fight. And these weapons have widely different movesets.
Yes.
So unless you can look at what she's doing and say, okay, it's the sword, it's the staff, whatever, you will get destroyed because whatever the first move is of that weapon will annihilate you if not resolved correctly. And beforehand, there's been nothing like this in the game where you have to watch the characters, like the enemy's animation itself, to know what's going on.
And this is perfect because this will happen forever and ever.
Yes.
The rest of your experience in the game.
Yep.
Yep.
So good. And so much different than like E3 Extreme, for instance. That bullshit.
Yeah.
So she has 3 weapons, 2 in the first phase, 1 more comes out in the third phase. And you have to watch her. She'll make a very big animation, actually. It's very generous. She'll like swoop around and ice begins crystallizing in her hands. And it becomes either a sword or a staff or a bow. The sword and staff, they're different, but not that different. I actually had one occasion I recall where I read the wrong one. I made a bad call with our group and we died because I saw a staff and it was sword.
Yeah.
So that happened. But overall, you can tell pretty well what she pulls out from a decent zoom level. Whenever she pulls out a weapon, you got to read that thing ASAP and do something in response to it. So the sword, the first move will always be a giant stack mechanic, where she will focus on her current aggro target and swipe them with a big stack. And if that person does not run to the main group and stack on them when she whips out the sword, the tank's going to die. They cannot solo soak that ability.
Yeah.
They must stack. And then, of course, the extra FU after that, the extra fuck you, is that the next mechanic in the sword is a tank buster. So if you have that on the group after the first mechanic goes out, everyone dies because she's going to tank bust the whole group.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the tank has to run back to everybody's standing at her ass, take the hit, then get the fuck away from everybody so he could take the tank buster. It's just like a really sharp series of movements.
The tank buster is dodgeable. So if you see it coming, there's a cast bar for it. You can dodge through her to avoid. It's like a cone attack. You can get hit by it if you're a tank and survive. If you're not a tank, you will die. So ideally dodge it. But either way, though, it is definitely a buster in terms of damage. That's the sword. Then there is the staff. The staff, the first maneuver will be a very fast casting spread mechanic. You have to spread when you see the staff come out. If you see the markers, it's too late. You're dead.
It's so fast.
Yeah.
And then that becomes like a whole problem in the third phase. Third phase? Second phase?
Third phase, yes.
Oh, yeah, third phase.
The first phase, the staff comes out. You know it's going to be a spread. And then you get like a very short little icicle over your head. It crashes down. If you're near someone else, you both die.
You will die.
Yes.
This got us quite a bit.
Otherwise, you're fine if you spread.
Yeah, once you get the timing down, you're fine.
Yep. However, in the later phase, though, there is also like an area denial overlapping AoE mechanic that comes out at the same time as the spread mechanic. And we never got this down cleanly. We cleared regardless, but we never got it down. What you have to do is you have to pre-assign spread positions, and then the 2 people in the little slot you assign between the AoEs on the battlefield on top of the spread markers have to be at opposite ends of the safe spot.
Yeah. So you're going to have overlapping AoEs with a very thin safe spot to stand in. 2 people have to share that spot, one at the front and one at the very back. So this reminds you of like Savage when you go to so you have to assign pairs before the start and tell them, okay, when this mechanic happens, you go here, you go here, go here.
But it's tough, though, even besides just doing that.
It's so the timing is so fast.
The timing's fast, but also like the first thing is that the markers are very hard to see on the whitish background of the icy arena.
Yeah.
So it's hard to fucking see like which marker is your assigned marker. And also there's no other like waypoint in the battlefield. So you can get turned around so easily.
Constantly.
If you have to spread to the east normally and the Shiva's facing south because of other bullshit that happened, then there's no waypoint to orient yourself from. So you got to check the mini map.
Unless your tank can keep the boss pointing north at all times, which was really, really hard to do. Yeah, you just got to like keep a third eye on your marker for when that mechanic pops up.
Again, we never got this down perfectly. We had a couple deaths to it at the clear, actually, but still, we got it.
Yeah, it's forgiving in that way. You know, if you get a couple people down, you can res them. It's fine. It's not a guaranteed.
Yeah, it's actually my preferred extreme difficulty. There are some extremes where if someone dies, you're fucked. Just give up, because there's some like body count mechanic where if everyone's not alive, then it's like a full
on purpose.
Wipe.
Yeah, if one person dies, like, no, we've designed it so that the rest of the party is fine.
But I mean, save that shit for Savage, in my opinion.
Right.
You know, it's okay. I think if people go down from extremes, you can res them, you can recover, life goes on.
It's like, it's not easy, but it can be done.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the staff. The final weapon, which comes out only in the third phase, this is after the diamond dust mechanic, that's the bow. The bow is tricky because when she whips it out, she will do like a 270-degree attack in front of her. You must be right behind her or you will get one shot by that bow.
Mm-hmm.
Bow comes out, everyone hide behind her. Then a bit after that, she does this knockback. She'll mark one player with like an icicle marker.
Oh, God.
That player has to leave the party and go stand by themselves, preferably pop like a knockback mitigation. You don't have to, but you should.
Yeah.
And then she'll do like a line knockback. Anyone near the player and that player gets
They're
knocked back.
They're going to get got and they're going to get fucked.
The arena border on this fight, this will freeze you. So if you hit the border, you get encased in ice. You can be broken out. It's a big pain in the ass.
It's probably not going to happen. You're probably going to die.
The person targeted is going to get knocked into the wall unless they pop knockback mitigation. And if you mess up and you bait this knockback on the whole party, it's a wipe. There's no way you're getting the whole party back from their icy cages that they get knocked into.
Yeah, I mean, the marker is very distinctive, and I think you have plenty of time to do that. It's just like, I got the marker one time, but there was just so much chaos visually and mentally. I had no idea I even had the fucking marker.
You just have to know that the knockback comes a few seconds after the first bow attack and just watch for it. Everyone watch for your marker, and then when it happens, run away. Just check yourself, know what's coming, and then react. When I get the marker, people try to like adjust for me. I'm like, I'm in the middle of you all. Let me move. Don't
get away!
I get away. I don't have to make the whole other party move to get away from me. That's ridiculous.
We're all like, I don't want to be next to you. I'm going to walk away.
Another mechanic we never got down perfectly. There are overlapping AoEs where you have to dodge, like, you know, in and out of the ones that appear in sequence. The timing on these is so goddamn tight. You have like a half second to start moving after the first AoE resolves before the one you're standing in resolves.
Is this the one that goes around the perimeter? And
no, the one where it's like
inner cardinals?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Where half the time you get hit by it because the timing is so tight and dodging that.
Yeah.
There's another one which just like fills the arena full of like a circle.
That one's way easier to manage.
Yes,
you know,
agree.
It feels like it's AoEs all around the perimeter and in the center. So you go to the stand where the last one is when the first one explodes, and go stand in the new safe spot. It's tale as old as time.
Other stuff, just like in normal, there is an ads phase, which is easy overall. The ads are no big deal. However, she will whip out her sword during the ads phase, so the main tank has to be in charge of positioning her either to the party for the stack or away for the tank buster.
Right, yeah.
We cannot kill ads and also like dodge around her. That's the tank's job.
And this is, so if we, and this is a bit of an enrage, so we got real close at one time. But if you don't get all of the ads down before she starts doing her big, diamond dust thing, then that's a wipe.
Yep.
So,
So do it.
Yeah. We were pretty fucking good on that one. But there was that one time where we're like, we got the last ad down right before she started doing her thing. Like, oh God, did we get snapshotted? And we were all waiting with bated breath.
But we were fine. Yep. This fight, despite my earlier tank bitching, this one does do a good job of making both tanks do something. it's definitely a 2-tank fight.
Yeah.
The off-tank must get those adds right behind her in one stack to make sure we're together for the stack mechanic.
Absolutely.
And also, at least I'm in eye level.
share.
Yeah, so when she pulls her sword out, she gives you a vuln up for the staff. And when she pulls her staff out, she gives you a vuln up for the sword.
Yeah.
So there is like a soft enforced tank swap because her next weapon will be enhanced against the current tank.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally, the tanks swap when she changes weapons.
Right.
Anyway, so we kill adds, we get diamond dust as usual. Everyone gets frozen. We get the kick.
People try to
snap.
like pose in a cool way for the freezing part.
And then the music changes and we can rock out for a while. It's not over in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Super great. The third phase is when we really kind of employ the first phase mechanics. So sword's still there, staff's still there, bow comes out as well. There are overlapping AoEs on the arena. The final mechanic we've not seen yet is the icy arena. This is where she will, I think it's after the staff attack, she will freeze the whole arena.
Yep.
And if you move, you will scoot on the ground. Unlike most icy arena fights, though, the scoot, if you move during ice, is huge. You go like half the arena.
You will get thrown into the edge.
Yes. You just got to stay put. If you try and move during this, you will go flying and get frozen on the death wall.
It's like 2.5 seconds. Just like chill.
Yeah. The problem, though, is that you're doing your, readjustments for the next mechanic. You're doing melee DPS positionals and so on.
You're also just like in a blind fucking panic. Ah!
Yeah, exactly. Chilling is harder than it sounds.
It is, but it's just like...
The last thing I want to note here is that her goddamn auto attacks, she is still in a Realm Reborn extreme boss in that she just like does constant bullshit auto attacks on top of her mechanics. I played healer for this. Jin played, is it Ninja?
Ninja.
Yeah. I played Scholar for this. God damn, I was so relieved when she did mechanics and not like auto attacks because I was having to spam heals constantly. Like I was bitching in our raid chat. There were people who were hurt. I had to like heal people from the raid wides or whatever, or like res people, but I couldn't because I could not spare a single GCD from spamming heals on the main tank because her goddamn auto attacks are so fucking severe. I watch her animation. She attacks so fast. Like she goes like chunk, 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 chunk. And I'm watching 3 attacks go out during one cast of a heal. I'm barely breaking even on the DPS she's doing to the main tank. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So whenever there's a pause for a mechanic, it's like, oh, thank fuck, I can actually do stuff now versus having to heal the main tank.
Oh, man. I mean, I really want to get into Scholar just because it seems like a total mindfuck. Like White Mage seems like push button, things good, but Scholar not so. I had a healing. That's a whole. I really want to be good at healing. I haven't touched Sage or Astrologian, and I'm so curious. I'm fascinated by you being so good at Scholar.
Astro got redone with the most recent expansion. I've not touched Astro since then. Sage is still my favorite healer.
Yeah,
of the ones I've played, of White Mage, Scholar, and Sage.
All right. People really love Astrologian, though.
Cool.
I know. I'm just saying. Like,
I mean, I haven't tried it. I'll
have to try it.
I'm going to.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get there. Oh, I did like my passive Twitch watching today to get the chocolate.
Oh, I need to do that too.
Little guy mount. Yep. You've got like 4 days. Dude,
yes,
you gotta do it.
I have to do that. You're right. Tomorrow. Anyway, that's Shiva Extreme. Thank you again to our crew. On our clear, actually, this was like a shit show in a good way. So, like, we got killed by some bullshit, largely, and we had me and the main tank and, like, one other person alive. We were watching the LB bar charge up and up and up. And then we got the healer LB3 in.
Yep.
Blam, everyone got rezzed. And then we got, like, half the party killed by the spread mechanic during the overlapping AoEs.
Classic.
And it's a race to get her dead with these survivors before she does her next bullshit. That's going to require 2 healers and 2 tanks and whatever.
I feel like we've been in that exact same position more than once.
Those are the best clears. It's when you barely scrape it by. But yeah, that was an honest mid-eye level clear.
Yeah.
With some hair.
Yeah, we did it.
Thank you again to our crew. That was a great time. And that's it. That's all I got this episode.
Also, we just have to mention, we have a disproportionate number of Ellison in our team.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Not indicative of the spread across the community at all. I think we had like literally 50%. Five Ellisons in our group of 8?
Yeah, thereabouts.
At least half. And we were all like, how many are Duskwights?
Yep.
I think we also had 2 Duskwights, which is crazy.
All the Ishgardians showed up to defend their homeland.
That was great.
So after we finish that up, we go back to Urian J to say we done it. And this is when he says that he glimpsed in Shiva the hand of the Paragons. So this is the big, like, okay, so is Iceheart fucking with the Ascians moment?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that'll do it for the episode. Next time, we are going to conclude the patch 2.4 main scenario. So we will see you then.
And that will do it for today's episode. As Levi just said, totally snaked my saying. As always, thank you guys so much for listening and being cool like diamond dust. Cool like a Duskwhite Ellison. If you want to get in touch with us, you can at podreturnffxiv@gmail.com. Check the show notes for our Discord. You can sign up, meet a bunch of excellent people. Join us for our group runs, organize group runs of your own, send us pictures of your pets, literally something for everybody. And everybody, like I said, is hella rad. And we also have our Patreon, patreon.com/podreturnffxiv. And for $1 a month, you get access to everything else that we do. That includes our Final Fantasy XI series, Vanity Events Planner, every episode we do for the seasonal events in Final Fantasy XIV, and other peripheral shit, like the Final Fantasy XIV card game, the tabletop RPG. Now, check it out. And with that, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a good day or night, and we will see you next time.
Hit it, gent.
Brow, 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 brow.